inside Asia's new $35 billion megacity, Nusantara. Are you ready to discover the world's most ambitious and revolutionary megacity? Introducing Nusantara, Asia's new $35 billion utopia. You may be surprised to learn that the island of Java in Indonesia is home to over 150 million people, making it the most populated island on Earth. But with Jakarta, the island's capital, facing issues of overpopulation and severe flooding, the Indonesian government has proposed a solution that will blow your mind. Imagine a green energy-powered capital city built completely from scratch in the jungle, designed to revolutionize our understanding of sustainability and technology. Jakarta, Southeast Asia's largest capital city, is also the fastest sinking city in the world. Despite being subject to frequent and severe flooding, overpopulation issues, and a deepening climate crisis, it has somehow managed to remain standing. But Indonesia's government now proposes an enticing solution to build a completely new utopic green energy-fueled capital from scratch. This ambitious project, known as Nusantara, aims to revolutionize our understanding of sustainability while also providing much-needed relief for Jakarta itself. Join us as we take a deep dive into the captivating details of this emerging megacity. Will it be sustainable? How long will it take? In today's video, we'll find out just that. For context, Indonesia has over 1.9 million square kilometers of land, or 730,000 square miles, and the island of Java only constitutes 124,000 square kilometers, or 43,000 square miles of the entire country's landmass. To say the island is overcrowded is an understatement, and in that overcrowded island lies the country's capital, Jakarta. Indonesia has revealed plans to construct a new capital city in East Kalimantan on the island of Borneo. The name Nusantara, which translates to archipelago in Javanese, symbolizes the country's goal for economic growth and international influence. Estimations have determined that this project will cost a whopping $35 billion. By 2045, it's expected that 2 million people would live there, with both local citizens and global talent invited to inhabit the area. It's no secret that this is one of the most impressive infrastructure projects Indonesia has ever embarked on. But what made them choose to build a new capital city from scratch? The answer lies in their current capital, Jakarta. This bustling metropolis is home to over 11 million people, yet frequently triples during peak times, and it's quite literally sinking due to overcrowding. So for Indonesia, there was truly no other option than moving its core operations away from Jakarta before it disappears. Overpopulation is not the only problem in Jakarta. Built on a delta system of 13 rivers, an astonishing 40% of the city has been submerged. Because it's so densely populated, water isn't even able to properly seep into the soil, and flooding remains a constant issue that inevitably could become more severe due to climate change, population expansion, and crumbling infrastructure. Moreover, if you've ever been on holiday to Bali or Jakarta, you would know that traffic congestion is no joke. Along with the constant flooding has cost Jakarta approximately $6 billion in productivity every year, an indicator that something must be done before it's too late. The Indonesian government is aiming to reduce the burden on Jakarta by constructing another capital. Astonishingly, Java's share of Indonesia's GDP is 60%, with Jakarta accounting for 1/5, a colossal contribution. In comparison, the island of Kalimantan only accounts for less than 10%, despite its abundance of commodities such as coal, gold, and oil. It goes without saying, the potential of this region far exceeds this meager figure. As the majority of Indonesia's riches are held in Jakarta, leaving many outside Java feeling ignored, the government is taking action by moving its capital to East Kalimantan. They anticipate that this change will prompt more investments into less prosperous parts of Indonesia and create a more equitable country with further development opportunities everywhere. Discussions regarding relocating Indonesia's capital has been frequent for years. In fact, the proposal to transfer the government center of Indonesia first emerged in 1957, when Sukarno became the first president of Indonesia. However, this initiative didn't come to fruition, and Jakarta was appointed as the official Indonesian capital during the 60s. Again, it wasn't until 2021 that a definitive master plan for a new capital was presented once more. In 2019, President Joko Widodo unveiled a revolutionary notion of constructing a new capital 800 miles away on Borneo Island. It didn't take long after this announcement, the parliament approved a law that enabled this relocation to be put into action. So why was the province of East Kalimantan chosen as the site for the new capital? Well, it turns out that there were a few geographical factors behind this decision. First of all, its central position in the Indonesian archipelago, and the fact that it's not as prone to natural disasters like earthquakes. Volcanic eruptions or tsunamis likely influenced the choice. The huge area is also home to only 3.7 million people who live amidst lush jungles teeming with beautiful wildlife, including one of the largest populations of orangutans on Earth. Yes, to Earth. Indonesia's strategic decision to redirect its capital to East Kalimantan will place it conveniently close to its most promising areas, specifically the Celebes Sea, the Arafura Sea, and the Pacific Ocean. This move is a clear sign of Indonesia's aspiration in asserting itself as an influential Indo-Pacific power, while taking advantage of its luscious location. The nation has set ambitious intentions on becoming a maritime leader within the region, and there should be no doubt that they are well underway on achieving this goal. It's almost mind-boggling to come to terms with the grandiose scale of constructing a new capital. Indonesia will construct its new administrative capital across an immense area of 200,000 hectares. That's equivalent to nearly 3 times the size of New York City. Fast forward a couple of months, after obtaining parliamentary approval in August 2022, construction officially began when the first shovel was turned at this future site. The development of the Sepaku Ring Road, which is Nusantara's main access road, has been made a top priority. It's reported that the construction work on the Sepaku 1, 2, and 3 ring roads has already been completed. The initial phase from 2022 to 2024 will also involve the land acquisition and detailed engineering designs with $300 million funded by Indonesia's Public Works and Public Housing Ministry. The construction of other infrastructure in the core of the Government Administrative Center has already started, which includes the Presidential Palace, the Presidential Office, and the Presidential Secretary Office. Nusantara is a progressive project that'll require both soft and hard infrastructure to be developed, such as urban utilities, tolls, manufacturing facilities, seaports, and airports. This buildup of infrastructure, beginning with the Presidential Palace at its core, will then extend outwards to include government housing districts for workers and military and police headquarters. With a strong focus on economic equality and inclusivity, the government of Nusantara is determined to make this new capital a successful low-carbon superhub. To ensure sustainability, they're looking to derive 100% of their energy from renewable sources, while 80% of mobility will be via public transport or alternative methods such as walking and cycling. This new city beyond Java Island promises not only healthcare advancements, but also technological advances that promise sustainable growth for generations ahead. Put it this way, Nusantara will be a smart city, combining information and communication technology to boost operational effectiveness while delivering superior government services. Well, the reality is to ensure the fruition of this modern utopia, a huge investment is required, to the tune of $35 billion. The Indonesian government will be providing slightly below 60%, while it'll be on private investors to supply the remainders. Nevertheless, they are still highly dependent on these funds in order for construction projects to commence and bring this ambitious concept to realization. Project Nusantara is still in an initial stage marred by delays, including the recent pandemic. With such ambitious goals for the new capital, bringing them to life seems to some an impossible endeavor. For instance, the government would like to move its presidential palace and other offices to the new capital in early 2024, yet construction has barely begun. When Japanese investors visited the construction site in late June 2022, it's reported that they were puzzled because they barely saw anything aside from trees and a white sign with the words Titik Nol Nusantara, or in other words, Nusantara's Ground Zero. Soon after, they withdrew their funding, saying the project lacked a proper vision. With Japan's withdrawal, the country is reported to be turning to the Middle East nations, including Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, as well as China. The government has also proposed several tax incentives to encourage more investments from the private sector. The incentive will include 6 kinds of benefits, including tax holidays and super tax deductions. However, some investors are still waiting on a couple of things before they invest. First, they want to see the basic infrastructure being done before they decide to put any of their money there. And most importantly, they want to ensure that the construction will continue beyond the 2024 presidential election. You see, the current president, Joko Widodo, is the pioneer who proposed this new capital. But his time in office will end in 2024. He's already serving his 2nd term in office, and according to Indonesian laws, similar to other democratic countries, the limit for an individual to be elected president is 2 terms. So Indonesia will have a new president in office starting in 2024. There are major fears that a new president could completely halt the construction of the new capital and use the funds elsewhere. That's why some private investors are still waiting and watching from a distance to ensure that if they do decide to finally invest, their money will be safe. There are also voices asking for the laws to be changed to allow President Joko Widodo to be elected for the 3rd term, to ensure all of his visions come to fruition. However, it can turn into a rather slippery slope and open the door to a dictatorship, which is something many Indonesians don't want after being freed from a dictatorship only 25 years ago. Fortunately, it's only a small minority voicing this demand right now, and it doesn't look like it'll gain traction. The proposed location of the new capital is close to Mahakam Lakes, this stunning and lush area full of peatlands that are also home to the Irrawaddy dolphin, an endangered species. Unfortunately, fires in these peatland areas have been known to produce massive amounts of haze that hover over Indonesia's cities, thus creating a real threat for those who live nearby. Environmentalists have also expressed deep concern regarding the endangered species inhabiting Kalimantan. After all, it's one of the very few places on Earth where orangutans still live in their natural environment. Opponents of this project contend that building a new city will unavoidably trigger an increase in palm oil plantations and logging activity within this splendid region, full of diverse wildlife and unspoiled rainforest. The indigenous people of Borneo have also sounded out their fears and worries, expressing that the potential relocation could threaten both their natural habitat and culture. Furthermore, they're concerned that should this happen, the government would demolish their villages without having any legal way to recompense them for their ancestral land rights because the Indonesian government does not acknowledge ancestral land claims. The government has assured the public that their plans for Nusantara will not have any negative impacts on the environment. They've also claimed to be firmly committed to safeguarding human rights, as well as preserving the biodiversity of Kalimantan's rainforest and its endangered species. This ambitious project is an exciting venture that promises to deliver unprecedented economic and social opportunities for Indonesians. But as with any significant project, there are still several issues that need to be addressed before construction begins in earnest. It'll be interesting to see how the government navigates these obstacles and what effects this massive megacity has in Indonesia's future. Indonesia is following a powerful trend in shifting capitals to newly planned and constructed cities, joining the ranks of Brazil, Pakistan, and Nigeria, which have already done so. With their decision, they join Egypt in taking decisive steps towards creating more efficient urban centers that can shoulder population growth, such as Cairo's massive new capital city currently under construction. Unfortunately, building new cities from the ground up has not been overly successful in recent years. For instance, Brasilia brought about further division, and Myanmar's Naypyidaw is now a virtual ghost town. Even Nigeria's Abuja, which rapidly urbanized, still failed to provide its citizens with an adequate housing plan, resulting in more slums being formed as opposed to alleviating them. In 1911, the British Raj proclaimed Delhi India's new capital, replacing Calcutta. Unfortunately, over a century later, it presently ranks as one of the most polluted cities in the world. As more countries struggle with their densely populated capitals and contemplate relocating them elsewhere, Nusantara could serve as an exemplary case study for other nations to observe when considering such decisions. What do you think about this planned $35 billion futuristic city in the jungles of Borneo? Will it be successful, or will it just be a pipe dream? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoy videos like these, make sure to give us a like. And finally, not to miss out on any of our future videos, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. Thanks for watching. This has been Luxe City. Until next time.